Us in the spotlight this morning is the second Vice President of Tutor, Kyrla, Robertson-Thomas. Good morning to you, Mrs. Thomas.
Good morning to you. Good morning to your viewers.
And thank you so much for joining us this morning. So I think the question on everybody's minds is, parents are thinking, some are saying it's a violation whether or not, they'll allow their children to get vaccinated against COVID-19, 12 years and over, of course. Where does Tutor stand on the issue in terms of vaccination of children?
Natalie, to say Tutor has the same position it had with vaccination of the adult public. It remains a rights issue, and unless it is made policy, we encourage that education continues to happen on the event, and we ask that all self-thinking persons meet with, discuss with their medical practitioners, and make the best choice possible for them, and in this case, their children.
But isn't that a cop-out position, though? We're talking about collective responsibility and we're talking about individual rights. Should our individual rights to say, yes or no, get vaccinated, trump our ability to move as a society and to say, okay, if we need the children to go back out to school, this is what we have to do or need to do?
Okay, so our General Counsel, which is where I will take my mandate from, did not pontificate and make any clear decision, because we understand that there will be many reasons why some persons may not be able to be vaccinated. What we have done is we have continued to share information about where vaccinations are being done and encourage people to use an educated position and make this decision. Clearly, we would want things to return to some level of normalcy, because we too understand that the best place for our children to receive an education is in the classroom. However, we will not decide for anyone what they should do with themselves and their body. We can only give them the information that we have and encourage them to seek further information from the medical practitioners who are the authority on such things.
And we're seeing NASPA, the National Primary School Principals Association, as well as the Secondary Schools Association, Principals Association, saying that they want the ability for principals to vaccinate or to lead the charge in terms of vaccinating their students, individually. Again, is this something that Tutor has met and considered on? Because I'm trying to figure out how that is going to work logistically.
We haven't had, since the announcement of the arrival of the vaccine that would be fit and suitable for students, we have not held a General Council meeting. So we've not had that particular discussion. We have had members approaching us and asking us about having the students vaccinated. But you can't have choice for yourself and as an adult and then mandate for somebody else's child. You can't have it both ways. And clearly, when we met on and discussed when vaccinations became available for adults, the position was to allow for people to make choice. So we can't speak on both sides of our mouth at the same time. And again, I can only sit here and say that this has to be a medical choice made in consultation with those who have the wherewithal to pronounce on it.
What if the Ministry of Education or the Teaching Service Commission is to say, okay, we need a healthy workplace, we need a safe workplace, that teachers who aren't vaccinated, we don't want to put them in contact with students or other teachers who are vaccinated. How will Tutor treat with something like that? I mean, I don't know that Tutor has to wait until the minute. Aren't these things that Tutor have discussed since this whole thing has started?
So at the end of the day, we have been following all of the discussions from all of the IR specialists, from legal matters that have been happening within the Commonwealth and so on this matter. At the end of the day, if the government wishes to make this policy, they know what they have to do. And of course, everybody will be able to make their pronouncement. At this time, we tell our members, if you choose not to be vaccinated, then you have to be prepared to come out to work and do all the other things that have been prescribed to ensure that not only you keep safe, but you keep the rest of the population safe.
Right. I did speak with labor law consultant last week, Dr. Broom, who said that according to Section 6 of the OSHA Act is that, that employers can make it mandatory for their employees to get vaccinated, citing that part of the act as well. So the thing is that, is it that tutor is only willing to, say, okay, only if it's mandatory, we will get vaccinated for some members?
Well, we haven't, don't look at it in that way. We have not told members not to get vaccinated. And we're not going to say only if it is mandatory. We have been encouraging our members to make the right choice. I can't tell you anything else.
Yeah.
Make the right and educated choice. We know we have members who also medically have been told that they cannot be vaccinated. So there still exists some persons in society who have been advised by doctors not to be vaccinated at this particular time, and we have to respect those people that exist. The other people, we hope that they are making an educated choice directed by medical advice.
All right, I understand that. No, on Saturday, the Prime Minister did say that the reopening of schools is going to be predicated on vaccines uptake in the population. So can you say by now, what percentage of teachers have been vaccinated?
We have not sought to gather that data. The ministry has not sought to gather that data as yet either, because we actually had that discussion when we met with Minister and her team on Thursday afternoon. And that mandate has not been given by the employer simply because at this point in time, the vaccination is not necessary for one to carry out their duties. So it still remains a person's personal business whether or not they have been vaccinated. So we have not sought to get that from our membership. What I can say is that we have, from the beginning of vaccinations, our members have reached out to us. We have continued to provide all of the relevant information to give them the ability to make that educated choice.
No, I hope you understand my line of questioning, because what I'm thinking to myself, Mrs. Thomas, is that tutor has always maintained over the past year plus that it needs a safe working environment. I remember when tutor decided that it did not want to go face to face, because it thought that it was a risk to teachers and a risk to students. So I just thought that now that the opportunity is here to get that safety that it's so required in the earlies, that it would have been a position and something that tutor would have taken a position on then to say, okay, this is what we need to do because this is where we were and these were our arguments going forward.
I don't think any union worth its salt will sit here and say to you that we are going to encourage mandatory vaccination. Again, I will repeat, educated decision. We know where we have to go. We know what we have to face. If it's available and it is within the realm of advice given by your medical practitioner, make the educated choice.
I agree with you, and I didn't expect the union to say to its members, you need to, it's mandatory that you vaccinate. But I expect the union to put forward the exact arguments that it used all the years of its life, which is to have a safe working environment. And if the safety of that environment looks like vaccination, then from that perspective that it would have been clamoring for it.
I understand. But as I said, no General Council decision has been made on that. We can only put forward what we have been advising and advocating for at this point in time.
And so let's talk about the safety then. What will safety look like for tutor, when school reopens? What will that look like?
At the end of the day, Natalie, as I have said to membership who have reached out, we still have other things that we need to continue to do. We need to continue to ensure that everybody on the plant wears their mask and wears it properly. We have to continue to maintain distance. We have to also continue to encourage regular hand washing, and where hand washing is not possible, the use of hand sanitizers to ensure that we minimize our risk and exposure. We would want to ensure that not only the COVID issues are safe, but the buildings are safe. That came out in our discussion with Minister as well, because we still have the issue of our actual work site. Long before COVID, many of them are not in compliance, in total compliance with our safety. So we did ask at that meeting on Thursday, what is the ministry's position on whether or not the buildings themselves will be ready to house um, students and teachers and all other staff, school personnel. We were told that ongoing works continue to happen. In the past, we would have gotten a vacation repair program list, so we would have been able to monitor and track. We have failed to get that from the ministry, but we were advised in that meeting by the PS that that work continues. So we continue to look for those things as well. So we can't only focus on what COVID safety, but general health and safety issues within the workplace. We continue to mount certain segments where we inform our members again of everything that they need to do for general safety at the work site. Things that happened long ago, we had that discussion because we were concerned about the quarantine room. We were asking for a trained medical person to treat with that room because before, when a child got ill, especially at the lower levels, the primary levels, children look for that love and attention and actual physical contact. Teachers are no longer going to be prepared to sit and hug and soothe and stroke a child's back until help comes because we don't know the difference now between possibly symptoms of just an asthma attack as opposed to COVID-related symptoms. So we
And this
wanted
is
to
what I'm
ensure
saying,
that we
Mrs.
got that kind of help.
This is what I'm saying, Mrs. Thomas. There seems to be some discrepancy in my mind from tutor regarding safety because tutor seems to tutor and not just tutor but unions on a whole tend to hold hard and fast, especially when it comes on to negotiations, to look at health and safety, health and safety, health and safety. And here you are still suggesting to me that tutor is very much interested in the health and safety of the teachers, of its workers, of its charges, and, not wanting to have that kind of interaction. But here is something that could add to the health and safety of tutor members. And that now is being treated with, okay, well, it is, you're right, and you can or you cannot because it's not condition of your working of your employment, and therefore if it's not a condition, it's okay if you don't have the health and safety, so to speak. How can tutor have this kind of mixed messaging?
So maybe that's what you are receiving, but tutor never said it's okay. You fail to realize what we don't only focus on section 15 of the act. We remind our members every day that the employee also has an expectation to do what is necessary for their safety at the workplace. So that's one thing tutor does. Tutor does not only focus on what the employer has to do to create a safe environment. We continually remind our members what they must do to ensure that they are safe while they're at their workplace. Again, it is still not for us to dictate what somebody does in terms of a medical choice. That is not made policy. And I suspect it has not been made policy because there are all those factors that are involved. So when there is something solid, only then will I suspect that any self-thinking government will also make any attempt to make such a policy because there are many variables. We have many teachers who are interested in getting vaccines and have been medically advised against it. And
No,
they
but I
have
mean,
been
medically
reaching out.
advised against getting vaccinated would get an exemption. I think that was generally understood. But the thing is, let me just ask because I don't know where the time goes. If it's made mandatory, what is tutor in support of mandatory vaccination? That's what I really should ask.
I can't sit here and say that. I said again, I can only say what my general counsel has made a decision on. The general counsel of tutor, from where the officers take their lead and instruction, has not made that decision.
And what about the reopening of schools? According to the Prime Minister on Saturday, it will be predicated on vaccination uptake. But is a tutor in support of the physical reopening of schools, whenever that time comes, understanding that the children need to be back out? Is it something that tutor supports?
Once we have that go ahead, one of the things that we took heart with the ministry's meeting, the minister was very clear to say that will only be a decision made given the advice given by the Ministry of Health. And if we know that they are the practitioners who have the authority to give us that go ahead, then we have to take heart that they will make the best decision for all of us. We do know that we lost a lot of students with the online, And there are many teachers who have been ready for quite a while to return to schools. But
Yeah.
of course, making sure that everybody will leave the compound safe. We
Right.
understand that the best way for instruction has been face-to-face and will continue to be so until we have really laid down a proper framework for online instruction and for having the availability of stable internet, Wi-Fi, and programs to meet that space. So yes, we have had members ready. In fact, when we put our position to the draft, we did make some suggestions as how we could start with the face-to-face in a phased basis in an attempt to try and reach our students in the best way possible.
All right, Mrs. Thomas, I want to thank you so much for speaking with us this morning.
Welcome.
Kyrla Robertson-Thomas, their second vice president of Tutor, speaking with us. And a union not going to mandate its workers to get vaccinated. We understand that, but let's see how the health and safety issues are dealt with going forward. We take a break and we'll be back with you.